Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome along to the GAA Postcast in association with Paddy Power. The bad news is that my understudy Mark Boylan is gone and I'm back from a break in Italy. Yes, I'm David Jennings from the Racing Post and I'm delighted to be joined by Paddy O'Rourke and Damien Fitzgerald from our sponsors Paddy Power to preview the second round of Super 8 matches this weekend. And as is tradition, we're going to kick off with our 3 quickfire questions, and the first 3 are for you, Paddy O'Rourke. Number 1. Very interesting. If there's national newspapers listening to this podcast, I'm sure they'll be intrigued by this question. If Andy McEntee rang you and asked you to come back to playing goals for Meath to sort out the problematic goalkeeping position in the final Super 8 clash against Kerry next weekend, would you accept the invitation and stop Meath fans tearing their hair out watching Andy Colgan in goals?
Would I have to take his mobile number off blocked?
So the relationship is not good at the moment.
No, I don't think it'd be it'd be a runner. I think it'd be kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Look, Andy's going to have to improve himself, his kickouts especially, but I think that's something that needs to be worked on internally, whether they have to forfeit an evening at training just to go through something and have a plan. It's quite glaringly obvious that Meath don't seem to have any sort of kick-out strategy compared to it was shown up against Donegal. We were watching it on TV and by the time the replay had been shown, Donegal were on the attack after 4 or 5 seconds, whereas when Donegal got a score, Meath weren't getting the ball away for 10, 11, 12 seconds. And it was shown up in plain light that the work that they've done on kick-outs, if any, isn't good enough for inter-county, and it certainly isn't good enough to be taking on these Division 1 teams.
And is there any part of you, like Stevie Wonder would know that you are the best goalkeeper in Meath, is there any part of you that says to yourself, oh God, I wish I just, gave it another couple of years, I'd love to be back in goals? Is there a part of you that wish you hadn't walked away?
Not particularly, no. It was November 2017 when I had the phone call with Andy and said that, look, my head and my heart isn't in it anymore and I'm going to leave the panel and I'm just going to go back and play with the club. And it's a long time ago now, it's over 18 months ago. So yeah, look, you looking on as a Meath supporter, like everybody else that goes to games and knows the lads individually that are still playing and still involved. You want them to do well, and when you see a fella struggle, you feel bad and you'd want to try and help him any way you can. But like I was thrown in at the deep end when I was 19, and it was sink or swim, or and just get on with it and learn and train hard and work on things that you're not doing too well. So I think it's a case of the lads in the squad and the lads in the management need to circle the wagons and go with who they have and improve them to the best of their ability.
Okay, dokes. Question number 2, a very interesting one. Would you sign David Clifford for 80 million or Donald Keogan and Rian O'Neill combined for 80 million? So you have a choice of signing David Clifford or 2 players, a back in Donald Keogan and a forward in Rian O'Neill, who have had terrific seasons, both of those. If you had the choice, would it be Clifford or Keogan and O'Neill combined?
Kind of a strange one. We're lucky enough that we have Donald. I suppose looking on other teams.
Well, let's just say we're Cork. We're Cork, right? You're the Cork manager.
I think if you're Cork, I'd say just going with Clifford would be enough. I prefer to judge Rian O'Neill after season 2. He's been a flash in the pan this year. He's kind of come in under the radar in championship. Teams mightn't have had their full homework done on him, being a young lad fresh into a squad and kind of can play that well. But if he can back it up after season 2, then yes, it'd be a harder, more difficult decision. But like, you see how good Clifford is. He's worth more than what he scores to a team because he creates so much. He almost put Geaney through for a goal in the first half. The last day with a ball from about 50 yards. Just, it didn't go above knee high, but he drilled it in bounced 3 or 4 times, split the defence open, and almost created a goal. He's just got that natural ability. He's able to read the game. He's able to score. He takes marking. He takes double marking. And I think as the season goes on, if the Kerry forwards get a little bit more confidence under the belt, he'll show up as being even better than he was last year.
Okay, dokes, your third and final question. It's a straightforward one. Who will contest the 2019 All-Ireland football final?
Very difficult question, because this weekend's game between Donegal and Kerry is going to have a massive bearing on who tops the group that Meath are in.
Now. Don't give everything away. I'm
not going to give everything away, but every team is thinking Super 8's brilliant. Let's try and get out of our group. But if you finish second in the Meath, Kerry, Donegal, Mayo group, you're going to be playing Dublin in an All-Ireland semi-final and you'll exit the championship. So you want to be winning your group. So this is why the Donegal and Kerry game is so important this weekend. And I wouldn't bet against it being a Tyrone Dublin final again. We mentioned it on the podcast the last couple of weeks. It has a big chance of popping up again.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. Right, Damien Fitzgerald from our sponsors, Paddy Power, the first of your 3 quickfire questions. How was last weekend from a Paddy Power perspective on the football front, and what was your worst result?
It was kind of all right for us last week. I suppose all the individual results weren't really that bad, but just the 4 favourites winning in the Super 8s was pretty poor from an Cume point of view. The worst result was probably, I suppose, Donegal just pulling away at the end. We could have done without Dublin and Donegal pulling away towards the end of their matches and beating the handicap. Both of them looked like they had no hope at one stage of the game, but both of them managed to beat the handicap. But it was an okay weekend, just mostly from the accused from the 4 favourites winning was where we lost money.
Lovely stuff. Number 2, what was the biggest bet struck with Paddy Power last weekend, and who was it on?
Well, the biggest bet we took was 24k on Dublin at 1-33. So.
Is that a round number? Does that 24,000 at 1-33? Does it work out at, I don't know, 800 or something? I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. That was how much it was. Yeah, so that was the biggest bet we took. We took $6,000 on a Tyrone -3 and Dublin -8 double on the alternate handicaps as well. So that was a winner too.
Blessed to collect. Yeah. Imagine that punter at 24,000 on Dublin at 1-33. And was the score 5-0? Was it 4-0?
It was 5-1, I'd say. It was 4 or 5-0 anyway. Yeah, it was a good start. But in the end, I suppose it got there handy enough.
Yeah, it did indeed. And on the Dublin team, what has been the biggest bet taken on Dublin for the All-Ireland, and what price was it at?
The biggest bet we took on Dublin so far was actually this week. It was just a couple of days ago. Just $10,000 at 8-15. So, we pushed them a little bit last weekend. We pushed them from 1-2 out to 8-15. Just because Kerry were very impressive, really, so we'd be thinking they might be going off at a slightly bigger price than we previously thought against them.
And when it starts to get down to the kind of squeaky bum time towards the semi-finals, I presume that the 50, 60, 70 grand bets start then, do they?
Yeah, I suppose if you're going to be having that sort of money, you'll probably wait until this time of year. The price is unlikely to change too much early in the year, really. So, yeah, I think it might start coming now a bit more in the next few weeks.
Okay, so at the moment, $10,000 at 8-15 on Dublin. Looks like pretty safe money at the moment. It could be Paddy O'Rourke's. We're not quite sure. We'll find out later in the show. So moving on to this weekend's action. It is the second round of Super 8s. And we're going to start at Croke Park on Saturday. We're going to go for the later game first because it involves the All-Ireland champions Dublin, who are at home at a neutral venue to Roscommon, 7 o'clock, live on Sky Sports. Dublin v Roscommon. Damien Fitzgerald, can we get some prices and handicaps?
Yeah, Dublin are 1-80, 40-1 to draw, 20-1 Roscommon. The handicap is 14 points. Dublin -14, 10-11, 12-1 the handicap draw, and Roscommon +14 is evens.
Paddy O'Rourke, I tweeted at half time in this game and in the game between Dublin and Cork, and I said basically that Cork had done absolutely everything right. They tackled tenaciously, they went man on man, they kicked wonderful scores, they went at Dublin, they showed them no respect, and they were still 6 points down at half time, and that was really worrying for Gaelic football. How on earth did Dublin beat Cork by 13 points given how well Cork played?
I suppose you can play well against Dublin for 50, 55 minutes, but then they seem to just go at the same pace, and fresh legs coming in, and every player that comes off the bench has a point to prove. And the lads that are on the pitch know that the fella that might be coming on to replace them has a point to prove as well. So whenever they get a chance, they go for the juggler. And it's mad. It's the mindset that the Dublin squad have at the moment. We don't care. You score 8, we'll score 10. You score 12, we'll score 14. You know, it's a great way to be, to have that self-confidence, but also to know that we do our job and do it well up to a certain point. And then we bring on lads with something, with a point to prove. Like Cormac Costello had been kicking the frees, been doing real well. He gets whipped off after about 44 minutes. Dean Rock comes on like the Leinster final, a fella with how many All-Irelands, All-Stars, man of the matches, you know. Next thing, he comes on and kicks 4 or 5 points in the last 15 minutes because he hasn't had any game time, and he needs to show Jim Gavin that he's ready and he wants to be back in the squad. You know, teams at the moment that are making inroads into Dublin's, you know, drive for 5, they probably only have the squad depth of maybe 17, 18, maybe 19 players that they can really rely on. Dublin have 30 lads as good as any other squad in the country. And that seems to be the biggest thing at the moment that I can see.
And Damien, Dublin beat Cork by 13 points. I suppose what punters will want to know is, who is better right now, Roscommon or Cork?
I suppose you can make the argument from either side. Like, Cork are obviously a lot more dangerous going forward, and Roscommon are probably definitely a better defensive side. So it depends which kind of side you want to come down on. I think Cork are probably a slightly more dangerous team for the bigger teams, just because they have very good forwards. I think they have a slightly higher quality player, Cork. Like, if you look through the Cork team, I think I would say the majority of that team have won like under 21 All-Irelands and stuff like that. So they do have a very good base of players, Cork. So I think maybe they're slightly better, but I think Roscommon are definitely a better defensive side and probably a harder team to break down, probably a harder team to play against.
Right, Damien, I have a theory on this game. I know Anthony Cunningham, and he is a very, very shrewd, very thoughtful type of coach. And I would say, going into this game, he will say to himself, right, we played Tyrone last year in Croke Park. They scored 424. We were embarrassed. I would say he fears an absolute pounding here, and I could see them going ultra defensive. I could see them really trying, obviously unsuccessfully, but I could see them trying to frustrate Dublin in a similar way to what Meath tried to do in the Leinster final, and hope that Conor Cox is on form and freeze, hope that, you know, that Roscommon forwards are slightly better than the Meath forwards. And for that reason, I just think this could be one of these games that it could be unders, under Dublin points, under Roscommon points, under total points, under goals. I just have a suspicion. Am I wrong?
No, I'm not sure you're wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if they set up like that. I think the thing about Roscommon is they do defend well, and they have been very, very well set up in all their games. Like, even against Tyrone last week, I thought their setup was very good. I thought they did the right thing. Like, Cavan against Tyrone kept running the ball into contact and turning the ball over, but Roscommon were very patient, and they'd obviously thought about the way they were going to play. So again, I think Roscommon will probably be well set up here, and Dublin might struggle to break them down for a while. If I was going on the handicap, I'd probably have a slight edge towards Roscommon, but it's kind of a hard bet to recommend. It'll be a very nervous watch. Like, you won't know. Even if it's 6 points in it after 60 minutes, you still wouldn't be getting ready to collect. But yeah, I think Roscommon will set up well and will definitely frustrate Dublin for a while anyway.
Paddy Rock, I made a promise to myself never, ever again tip against Dublin in the handicap, because after the Loud match, which I think was 18, and I think it was 3-1 after 15 minutes, and Paul Mannion got sent off, and I thought my handicap bet on Loud was home for all money, and then they get absolutely annihilated. So I've given up on backing against Dublin in the handicap. But do you think Dublin will cover this 14-point handicap?
Yes.
You're pretty confident there. What do you think they'll win by?
I'd say I'd be looking at something maybe 16, 17 points of a win. Do you see... I see Roscommon has been in around the same type of a team as Meath, the same type of a team as Cork, in around mid to high Division 2 league team. I know Cork got relegated, but they shouldn't be showing the form that they've put over the summer, So like if they're able to take care of Cork, who have played the most attractive football outside of the top 3 or 4 teams in the country, they put Meath to the sword after Meath being only 6 points down with 55 minutes gone. They bet them by 16, 17 points. I think they'll cover it and they'll go maybe 15, 16 points of a win.
Okay, and Paddy, what's the best bet on the coupon?
Best bet on my coupon is I predict that Dean Rock will be back in instead of Costello, and
Agreed.
I think anytime goal on Dean Rock this weekend is 6-4, and I think that will be attractive enough.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from there. I think it's blatantly obvious that I think Dean Rock will start this weekend. Damien Fitzgerald, your best bet on the Paddy Power coupon?
Well, you might think I'm a bit mad with this one after last week.
We think that already.
6-1 for Dublin not to score a goal, I think, is a decent price. I think Roscommon haven't conceded a goal yet in Championship, and I do think they defend very well, and they don't give away many goal chances. I know Dublin scored 5 goals last week, but they didn't score a goal against Kildare, and they only scored 1 against Meath. So I think it's 6-1. I think it's sort of price that's worth a chance, because Roscommon have shown that they can defend very well.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from, but I just think they'll get one. I think they will get at least one.
6 or under 1.5 as well, so that's maybe a little bit safer.
Yeah, it's another horrible watch though, because you could they might have a goal with 5 minutes to go, and then they'll get 4. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Okay, the curtain raiser at Croke Park on Saturday, also live on Sky Sports. It is Cork v Tyrone, and Damien, can we get some prices off you, please?
3-10 Tyrone, 9-1 to draw, and 7-2 Cork. Tyrone -4 is 10-11. Handicap draw is 10-1, and Cork +4 is evens.
Paddy O'Rourke, can Cork repeat their Dublin heroics? Can they produce a performance just as good, if not better, against Tyrone?
I think they can certainly repeat it. I think that Tyrone will have too many lads matched up around the back and will be dropping Kavanagh back from midfield to kind of smother the inside line. Everybody has been heralding Hurley as forward of the championship so far, and Collins in beside him. Collins was relatively quiet the last, even though Cork did clip 116, 117. I think that Tyrone will just suffocate them. I know Croke Park is a massive pitch, and you can't do that for 70 minutes. A team is going to hit a little bit of form and will get a few scores, but whether they will be given the space, like Dublin just basically said, right, go on, do whatever you want to do, but we're still going to beat you. I don't think Tyrone will play like that. I think Tyrone will go with their old style, smother in defence and then break at speed, trying to get Sludden on the ball, trying to get the ball into McShane as quick as possible. McGeary trying to run off him, and I think McCurry as well up front, just trying to use them as outlets for their counter-attack. So It'd be a hell of a performance if Cork can go there and score 117 again this weekend.
Damien, are Tyrone better or worse right now than they were in 2018?
I suppose it's hard to call at this stage. I think the one thing that you would say makes him better is Cathal McShane. He's kind of become a superstar this year, and he obviously makes a big difference to their team. Just takes a little bit of pressure off of Peter Hart, and his scoring is there for all to see. He's top scorer in the championship. So I think on that alone, you'd probably say they're better. I think the problem from last year for them might be, I think all the other kind of teams in that level, the likes of Donegal and Kerry, have probably improved as well. So maybe it won't be as easy for them to get to an All-Ireland final, but I think they have improved a little bit. I think the thing as well is, I think Roscommon showed how you need to play against them. I think you need to show patience against them, and need to work the ball and keep working the ball until you get your opportunity. I think the thing not to do is kind of keep running into them and letting them turn over the ball, and then they can hit you on the break. But yeah, I think they are better. Just Cathal McShane makes a massive difference to them, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there. I think in this game, when you look at Tyrone and you look at Dublin, they are polar opposites in many ways. And I think that the way Dublin played actually suited Cork because you know they say, well, you can do what we do and we'll just do it better. I think Tyrone will stick to their system, and I was going through the 4 games and I thought the handicaps were all just about right, and then I know yous are -4, others are -3. I think Tyrone could win this game quite easily. I was shouting from the rooftops about Tyrone last year. I think they're probably similar this year now that they've gone back to their usual style. But as you say, I think other teams have improved a little bit past them, the likes of Donegal and Kerry. But I think this is the perfect game for Tyrone, back to Croke Park against a Cork team that are not going to change the way they play because they're playing Tyrone. I think they'll stick to what they did against Kerry, they'll stick to what they did against Limerick, they'll stick to what they did against Dublin. And I just think that will play right into the hands of Tyrone. And I think Tyrone are just going to completely crucify them on the counter-attack. And for that reason, I think Tyrone -4. I think they could win by 8 or more here. I think this is wide margin Tyrone win written all over it. What do you think, Paddy?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there. I think they're just setting up nicely just to come through this game, and then full focus on taking care of the last round game to finish, maybe to try and finish there. They'll avoid Dublin then in the semi-final and then back into a final then. So I think, Tyrone win all over this one.
And the best bet on the coupon, Paddy?
Best bet on my coupon here, I'm going to go for Darren McCurry anytime at 12-5.
Okay, Darren McCurry, who seems to be coming back into a bit of form, 12-5 with Paddy Power for anytime goal scorer. Damien Fitzgerald, how do you see this one going?
I suppose it's kind of two ways to look at it. Like, the two of you made a good point there. Like, I could definitely see that happening, where kind of Tyrone soak up the Cork pressure and hit them on the break. I think the key thing for Cork is if they are going to win, and I do think they have a chance, but I think they'll need a few things to go their way. I think they'll need to get on top early and maybe get ahead and kind of make sure Tyrone have to come out a bit. So if Cork get on top early, I think they're 8-1 half-time, full-time. If I was backing Cork, that's the way I'd be backing them. I think they'll need goals and they'll need to get ahead early, but they do have a chance. But again, I could also see it going the way you were saying, and Tyrone pulling away towards the end with their counter-attack.
Well, Damien, your arse must be sore from sitting on the fence. You've basically said both results can happen. Come on, narrow it down. Who wins?
I'd probably chance Cork at the prizes because I do think they have a chance and I do think they attack well. And if they can get a goal early and kind of force Tyrone to come out, I'd give them a good chance. But I'm not totally sold on it.
Okay, Cork might win, but if they don't, Tyrone will probably win. Okay, we see where you're coming from there. Okay, well, I think Tyrone -4 is possibly the best bet of the weekend. So that is the end of part 1. Join us on part 2 when we'll be previewing Mayo v Meath and Kerry v Donegal.
Friends, or maybe more. Earn a 20 quid free bet for every friend you refer to Paddy Power, thanks to our Friends with Benefits programme. Log into your Paddy Power account and share your referral link to get started. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Welcome back to the GAA Postcast in association with Paddy Power. I'm David Jennings from the Racing Post, and joining me are Paddy O'Rourke and Damien Fitzgerald from our sponsors, Paddy Power. So moving on to Sunday, it is again the second round of the Super 8s, and it is the old traditionalists. It is a repeat of the 1996 All-Ireland final. It is Mayo v Meath, both on a retrieval mission after defeats in round 1 of the qualifiers. It's at 2 o'clock at Croke Park, live on RTE. And Damien Fitzgerald, can we get some prices?
Yeah, we're 2-5 Mayo, 15-2 to draw, 11-4 Meath. Handicap is 3 points. Mayo -3 is 10-11. 9-1 the handicap draw, and Meath +3 is 11-10.
Well, I think last Sunday we were in Lecce towards the end of our Italian experience, and just straight after the Meath game, I was kind of pretty impressed with the performance, and I said to myself, do you know what, Meath have a good record against Mayo. I'll just click in to see what the prices would be against Mayo. And initially, I think one of your rivals chalked up Meath at 4-1 for this match. And I just thought that was completely wrong. I know you're 11-4. I still think that could be a little bit too big, but we'll see what the experts have to say. Paddy O'Rourke, could Meath have beaten Donegal last weekend? They really could, couldn't they?
I'm still doubtful over that. I think Meath got a run of scores and got a purple patch. and Donegal couldn't get any sort of momentum. But just the wise heads, you always seen Donegal has been able to get their scores a bit easier than Meath. Meath had to work the ball and work really hard to get a score, whereas Donegal were getting through, they were getting space, there was kick ball into the full forward line, and then it was a runner off the shoulder or a quick dummy, and they were getting scores. I was always worried, even when we got back to a draw, when we got in front, every time we got the ball in the 45 inside scoring zone, we needed to convert to have any sort of a chance. You always in the back of your head thought, Donegal are going to break here. They're going to get a patch of momentum and they're going to sow it into us here. So I wasn't happy with the level of the winning margin. I didn't think 9 points reflected how well Meath played, but at the same time, even when we did go ahead, I was nervous that we weren't going to see the game out.
Okay. Damien, could this potentially be the end of the Mayo fairy tale? Could this be the end of the team that should have won in All-Ireland, that were unlucky that Dublin were around at the same time? Could this be the last hurrah for James Horan's charges?
I think it could be. Yeah, I don't think there should be a short either on Sunday, I have to say. I think, I think the way they're just gone through the championship, I know injuries haven't helped, and Diarmuid O'Connor and Matt Duran have been big losses. But I just think, I'm not sure they're at the standard that we think Mayo are at over the last few years. Like, if you look at the Armagh match, Armagh are probably a similar enough side to Meath, I'd say, in terms of standard. And they really should have beaten Mayo, I thought, in Castlebar. So I'd be giving Meath a big chance on Sunday. And I think Mayo could win, but I think it might be just postponed inevitable, and Donegal had knocked them out the week after.
So we're talking 11-4 Meath at the moment, Damien. Would you be advising our Racing Post listeners to get involved at that price?
Yeah, I think it's overpriced. I really don't think Mayo's form is there if you actually look through it. I think the 11-4 is overpriced. I think the +3 at 11-10 might be a better bet, though, because Mayo have had a habit in the championship of just getting over the line and kind of just grinding it out a bit. So I think the Mayo +3, which give at 11-10, or Meath +3 at 11-10, which gives you another couple of extra points to play with. I think that might be the bet for this weekend.
Paddy O'Rourke, if we rewind 10 years to a baby-faced Paddy O'Rourke, a ball comes in to the edge of the 6-yard box. He's coming out, and Aidan O'Shea just gets there before you to hit it in. But Meath did go on to win the match. Can you see something similar happening on Sunday? Could this be another big performance from Meath?
Absolutely. I think that they've nothing to lose. Expectations, nobody has expected them to get any sort of a draw or a win in the Super 8s. Everyone is predicting that this is just a progression path, and they need to play the big teams, and whatever they do in this couple of games is going to stand to them. So go in there, give it your best shot. You're back into Croke Park. Is it their fourth time in there this year? Fourth time in there this year? They're getting used to it now. I don't know. I think I could have been playing for 6-7 years before I got 4 appearances in Croke Park. These lads have 4 appearances in a couple of months. Everything is going to be same meeting time, getting on the bus, eating before the game, getting in there. Go in. Mayo are on the rack. They're on the ropes. They're just waiting for one knockout punch. If Meath can defensively be solid like they were for the first 45-50 minutes against Dublin and get the forwards looking a bit sharper and a bit more threatening. Cillian O'Sullivan came back to a bit of form last weekend. I'd love to see Darragh Campion given a shot. I think he looked impressive when he came on against Donegal. Yeah, very good score when he came on. Mickey Newman is kind of carrying the threat on his own up front in the inside forward line. James Conlon, I'd be hoping now that as it was mentioned there, the +3 for Mayo or for Meath at 11-10. I think giving Meath a 3-point head start. Mayo have never hammered anybody. And this current Mayo team definitely haven't hammered anybody. They've scraped over the line so many times and dragged themselves out of tight situations. I give Meath a massive chance. This is their chance to lay down a marker in the Super 8s. And geez, wouldn't it be brilliant to be thinking about 2 weeks' time, Kerry coming to Navan with everything up for grabs. This is it. Like, if it's now or never, it's time for some of these lads to stand up and grasp the opportunity and nail down a marker as leaders within this squad.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And the best bet on the coupon, Paddy?
Best bet, yeah, it is Mayo v Meath, +3 for Meath, 11-10. And I'm going to go with the old reliable as well. Mickey Newman, anytime goal, 13-5. But I think I'll stick with the 11-10 about Meath +3.
Damien Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I have the same thing down as my best bet. Meath +3 at 11-10.
Yeah, and I think even at 11-4, I think it's worth chancing Meath. I think that's too big of a price. There's certainly not that much between the two sides. And if I was Andy Colgan now on Sunday, if he does keep his place, I would, and if I was the Meath management team, what I would be saying is, instead of trying these unsuccessful kickouts that are going 35 yards out to the wings and attacks are breaking down, and we're actually creating a launch pad for the opposition to get scores, I would be saying, right, Andy, you're going to kick it as far as you can, and we're going to try and maybe get whoever, not Aidan O'Shea, obviously, maybe if Donald Vaughan is the other midfielder, maybe isolate Brian Menton and Donald Vaughan one-on-one and make them 50-50 instead of this losing 70% of your own kickouts. And if Meath do that, I think even if it breaks down, then at least you've got numbers back. I think that's Meath's best avenue to success. I think go long with kickouts, none of this short stuff that keeps breaking down, and just go back to the old traditional kickouts that David Clark loves so much. That's Meath's best chance of winning, I think, and I think 11-4 is a big price. But the big match of the weekend, what an encounter we have in store. I cannot wait. I'll be there. It's 4:00 at Croke Park. If you're not in Croker, it's live on RTE. And it is Kerry, who were so brilliant last weekend in dismantling Mayo against Donegal, my outside fancies from the start of the year for the All-Ireland. Damien Fitzgerald, how have you priced this one up?
Yeah, we're 8-11 Kerry, 15-2 to draw, and 6-4 Donegal. Handicap is 1 point. Kerry -1 is evens. Handicap draw is 8-1, and Donegal +1 is evens.
You could probably say neither here, Damien, but who do you think are the biggest threat to Dublin right now, Kerry or Donegal?
Can I say both? Because I think both are kind of building a thing where you could see them beating Dublin.
Well, you can't say both, because you know what? Both is the team of the podcast there, Damien, because you've been sitting on the fence the whole way through.
If you ask me on Monday, I'll have a better idea. I think we know a lot.
That's fantastic, yeah.
I think we'll know a lot more about both teams on Monday. I think they've both looked very good so far this year in parts. But there's probably holes you can pick in both of them as well. So I think this game is a real test for both teams. And obviously the winner is going to avoid Dublin in a semi-final. Loser will probably end up playing Dublin in a semi-final, where they might have a chance too, and it might be a better way. But I think even Kerry last week against Mayo, I think they were obviously visually very impressive, but I'm not sure how good Mayo are. And at home to Mayo, I think you can maybe pick a little bit of holes in the form. So I think they both have the possibility of threatening Dublin, and they both do look like they have a big scoring threat, but we'll know a lot more on Monday.
Okay, Paddy O'Rourke, before we come back to Damien for his verdict, which will probably be Kerry might win, but if they don't, Donegal will win, and if Donegal don't win, it'll probably be a draw. Before we get Damien to tell us that, who do you think is going to win this game, Paddy?
I'm going to go with Kerry, just for the simple fact that you fancy Donegal.
Right, that's good logic, so, yeah.
No, I think I'd be very excited if I was a Kerry supporter with the performance that they put in last week. I know home advantage was massive and there was loads of question marks and people were questioning the team, questioning the players, were they up to it? Mayo had beaten them in league and all this sort of crack. If they can get their inside forwards in the same or 3/4 of the same form that they showed last weekend into Croke Park on a nice day, I'd be so excited as a Kerry supporter. I think this is where we're going to see the best of them. Nice, dry, quick ball, massive big pitch, loads of space for running, loads of space for just popping balls in front of Clifford, in front of Geaney. James O'Donoghue was a bit of a revelation out around the middle. He's getting on easy ball. He's not running 100 miles an hour out the pitch with a corner back hanging out of him, falling, damaging his shoulder, picking up little niggles. If he can just play like a quarterback, take ball off David Moran and then feed it into the inside forward line, I think they'll have too much firepower up front from a range of different scorers compared to Donegal, who are maybe over-reliant on Paddy McBrearty scoring 6 or 7 points, or maybe Jamie Brennan scoring 1-3, and then Michael Murphy clipping in with 7 or 8 frees. So I think Kerry will edge this one just purely on the firepower up front.
Well, as I fancy Donegal, and you were talking about the weather there and saying how, you know, a nice sunny day, and you'll see the Kerry attack with a dry ball, and you'll see them at their best. I said, right, I'm going to show this Paddy O'Rourke fella. So I managed to click into AccuWeather there, which is my source of weather. Probably not the best weather source in the world. But on AccuWeather, I was praying for a slobbery old wet day, and hopefully Donegal would sneak through 10-8 or something like that. But unfortunately, I've just found out that it's 22 degrees, and the chance of rain is down at 5%. At 5% chance of any precipitation at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So Paddy, it's looking like you're going to get your wish, and these Kerry forwards are going to get a nice dry ball.
Yeah, and that's what all they're dreaming of, is getting into Croke Park, nice hot sunny day, and they'll kick points from everywhere.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried now after seeing that weather forecast. Damien Fitzgerald, how do you see this one going?
I think Donegal at 64 would be my bet. I think they're a bit overpriced. Like, we had them priced up at evens last week before the games last weekend, and now they've gone all the way out to 64. Like, the loss of Bon Gallagher, which is definitely big, is probably a part of that as well. But I'm just not convinced Kerry are as good as they looked against Mayo. Like, I just thought Mayo were pretty poor, and Mayo did still manage to make chances. They just didn't really take them. Whereas I think if you give Jamie Brennan and Paddy McBrearty those sort of goal chances, I think they will take them. So, yeah, Kerry's forwards are good, but I think Donegal's forwards are pretty good as well. Like, I think Jamie Brennan and Paddy McBrearty will cause the Kerry defence a lot of problems. So I'd be definitely on the Donegal side at 6-4.
Okay, I'd agree. But for me, for the best bet on the coupon, I'm going to get the ball rolling here. And I think under 40.5 total points of 5-6 with Paddy Power, and under 21.5 Kerry points, I think, are two great bets here, because I don't think Kerry are going to get the same sort of room that they got against Mayo. Paddy O'Rourke, your best bet on the coupon?
My best bet on the coupon, Kerry -1 at even money.
Okay, that's fair enough. Damien?
My best bet is Donegal over 1.5 goals at 11-8.
Oh, explain.
I don't think Kerry defend well. I think people are going a bit overboard with that Mayo performance last week. Like, Mayo still did make goal chances. Like, Killian O'Connor hit the crossbar and did a couple of other chances. And I think if the Donegal forwards get those type of chances, I think they'll score goals. So I think 11-8 is a pretty decent price.
Okay, dokes, over 1.5 Donegal goals, 11-8 is the best bet for Damien Fitzgerald for Kerry v Donegal. So all that's left to do now is reveal our best bets of the weekend.
This will not be beaten.
Paddy O'Rourke, we'll give you the honour first.
I'm going to rob one of your ones there. I actually do have it written down here. I'm going to rob it. Kerry v Donegal under 40.5 at 5-6. I think is one for this treble.
Yeah, you have it written down all right. You wrote it down after I said it.
No. I'd never do a thing like that.
We believe you. It's just like stealing Dundee tactics all over again. Okay, Damien Fitzgerald, your nap of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Meath +3 at 11-10. I think I can only see that game being very close, and I think they have a good chance.
Excellent, and I'm going to go for Tyrone -4. So that means we have got our Racing Postcast GAA treble, and they're in 3 different games. So that will be enhanced on the Paddy Power website. It is under 40.5 points in Kerry v Donegal. It is Tyrone -4, and it is Meath +3. Is that right, Damien? It'll be enhanced on the website?
Yeah, I'll have that up now in the next while. So.
Lovely stuff. And just to keep things straight, Paddy O'Rourke has just sent me a WhatsApp message, and it has picture of all his best bets, and written down there somewhere is, yeah, it is. It's third on the list. Kerry v Donegal under 40.5 points. I never doubted you, Paddy. Okay, so that's it for this weekend's Postcast, folks. My thanks to Paddy O'Rourke, to Damien Fitzgerald from our sponsors, Paddy Power. I've been David Jennings from the Racing Post. Don't forget to join us next weekend.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet the next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.